Ratio and proportion are related. Ratio is a comparison of two things. So usually you will see it written, it's comparing like 1 to 2. You'll see it like that. You'll see 1 to 2, and you'll see 1 over 2. These all mean the same thing. The trick with ratio is to make sure that you do it, because it's usually written in word form. So they'll say men to women. But the graph they give you might be women to men. So you have to make sure when you're reading the words that you, as you're taking notes when you're reading your word problems, you write men to women. Don't write M to W, because M's and W's can be reversed and our brains will flip them, and that can really confuse you. So write the full word out. You look and you go, oh, these are women, this goes here. These are men, this goes here. That's your ratio. You then put it like the fraction, first over second. And then if it is a fraction, you can treat it like a fraction and you can reduce that to 2/5. So you have a 2 to 5 ratio. So ratios are comparisons. They look like fractions, they act like fractions, and but they are really comparing something to something else. A proportion is relating to ratios. So you might say 1/2 is the same as 4/8. Okay, and these look like fractions, and they are fractions in a sense, because fractions are ratios, proportions, division. Don't get hung up in a fraction. So you're saying that this relationship is the same as this relationship. The way you check that, it's something called cross products. And it only works when there's that equal sign. So can pretend like this is a butterfly and that's its body. Okay? So cross products, 1 times 8 is the same as 2 times 4. 8 does equal 8. That is a correct proportion. If I had 1/2 and 5/8, if I checked it, 1 times 8 is 8. 2 times 5 is 10. 8 does not equal 10. So this is not a proportion. So ratio and proportion are related. Ratio is comparing 2 items, and proportion is comparing 2 proportions, or relating to proportions, or relating to ratios. So cross products. Now, how you will usually see this is they're going to be growing something. Generally speaking, a sign, you have a picture you're turning into a billboard, or a picture you're going to make into a bigger picture, something you're growing. So they might say, and they also, the other one they like to do is finding the heights of buildings. That's one of my favorites, or trees. Here you have this big, tall tree. And it casts a shadow that long. And here you have this little mailbox. And it casts a shadow that long. We can measure the height of the length of the shadow because it's on the ground. So they might say the length of this shadow is 30 feet. The length of this shadow is 3 feet. We know that the height of this mailbox, we're going to say, is 4 feet. And we don't know the height of that tree. So this is a proportion because it's something that grows. The reason that we know is because we have a sun up here that shines down and creates the same angle. So the sun's angle coming down on an object is going to create the same size triangles. So we know these are related. So that means their shadows are proportionate. So if we do this, we could say, well, you can say this is a 4:3. That's the height of the mailbox is to the base of the shadow. That is going to be the same as, now I have to make my tops be related. This is the height, so I need this to be the height, and this is what I don't know. So that goes on top. My base, or my shadow, is on the bottom. These are related. If you can look and see the relationship, great. You can go, well, 3 to 30, I took it times 10. 4 times 10 is 40. That's very likely, possibly the chance. A tree could be 40 feet tall. That makes sense. Or you can do that cross multiplication thing. So you go 3 times x is 3x equals 4 times 30 is 120. This is now an equation, and we know how to solve equations. We get rid of the numbers attached to the letter. It's attached with multiplication, so we're going to divide it both sides by 3, and that cancels that out, leaving us x equals 40. So 40 is the answer. So we saw it in the growth, but you can also see it in the proof by doing the solving of the equations. So that's how you solve a proportion, and that's what ratio and proportion is.